this guy.
Good morning, everyone. It's the Todd and Erin morning stream on GephartDaily.com. If
Todd's
you're
got a
joining us
little
on
bit.
Facebook, hey,
Todd's got a little bit of an allergy, so he thinks he sounds like a 14-year-old boy going, "Hi, my voice is changing."
hello, Mrs. Lubner. Can Sally go out tonight to the movies?
I don't think you sound like that. Let's go to the Morning Mountain Cam. It's brought to you by Black Diamond Experts, Electric Plumbing.
Look at
Heating,
that.
Look how dark it is in the morning.
Oh, my gosh.
Man. You know, the worst part of it is like right around midwinter when it's like you go to work when it's dark and you come home when it's dark and you start feeling like one of those like molds growing on a cave wall.
Look at that.
It's still pretty though.
Things they are a-changing.
Amazing things today, like the whole NFL thing. We got to talk about that. The most popular Halloween costumes this year.
Why the world didn't end on Saturday.
A little disappointing, I'm sorry.
But it's still coming.
Yeah, it's okay. It's going to happen. All right, NFL. You were waiting for this and you missed it. I'm so sorry.
You're supposed to wake me up. I was taking a nap.
Well, I didn't know it was going to hit that early. You told me 7:30.
This is you last night. It's like this. Hey, Todd, they knelt. And you left. And I'm like, I wanted to watch it live anyway. The Cowboys all pre-anthem. Jerry Jones as well. They all knelt.
Well, they linked arms, and then they all looked at each other, and then they knelt. Now, just so I'm clear,
prior to
it was
the national anthem.
The nuance here is important because it was prior to. It was not during the national anthem, but it was more of a symbolic. We are still in support of our brothers in the NFL. Is that kind of the message I'm getting here?
From the Cowboys, it was.
All right. The sad thing about that, I told you about the Steelers player yesterday who had been an ex-Army Ranger and kind of stood in the shadows of the little hall there and put his hand over his heart for the national anthem, and the rest of the team had chosen to make their protest by still being off the field when the anthem was played. Well, number one, all of his jerseys are flying off the shelves. He has the best-selling jersey in the history of the NFL now. And number two, this made me so sad. He actually stood up yesterday and apologized. He goes, "I didn't mean to make my teammates look bad." He said this was a mutual agreement from all of us that we would not go. He said, "But I wanted to be there, so I asked my coach, would it be all right if I just stood here to the side? No one's going to see me. We're still all together." And it broke my heart that he had to actually apologize for wanting to be there for the national anthem. I mean, that's really sad because the responsibility's mine, and I'm really sorry, and don't blame the rest of the team. And it's like, really? You have to apologize for that? So that's sad.
Erin and I disagree on this matter, so I don't talk about it.
Well, in any case, Michael Jordan actually talked about it yesterday.
What did he say?
And it's interesting hearing what some of the different people say. Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually said, and NASCAR has come out fairly strongly in
Them and their Confederate flags?
Don't. Now we're on opposite sides of this here. He said that people have the right to do that. The people have the right to protest how they want. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was kind of courageous. But back to Michael Jordan. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to do that. He came out yesterday, and I thought that what he said was really well spoken. I mean, he basically, if you want to put up the quote, because I thought it was really nicely said.
Good. Go.
You're not going to put up the quote? Okay. In any case, there we go. One of the fundamental rights of this country is founded on the freedom of speech, and we have a long tradition of nonviolent, peaceful protest. Those who exercise the right to peacefully express themselves should not be demonized or ostracized. At a time of increasing divisiveness and hate in this country, we should be looking for ways to work together and support each other and not create more division. I support Commissioner Adam Silver, the NBA, its players, and all those who wish to exercise their right for free speech.
There you go.
So I thought that was interesting. So
now,
not only was he commenting on the NFL, he was also preempting to the NBA because they're going to be the next round of professional players who are going to have to face what they're going to do.
As important as all this is, 3.4 million Americans are suffering in Puerto Rico and are running out of water. Now, I know it's important to tweet about the NFL, and I know that's a very important thing. Meanwhile, Puerto Rico, its infrastructure is collapsed. 5% of their power has been restored since Maria. How long ago was that?
One of the only shelters left is the airport, and they say they've got rows and rows of young mothers holding babies in just this sweltering heat. They're actually running out of water in some places, much less medical supplies. And the head of Puerto Rico said, "We're still part of the United States, and this is the worst cataclysm our island has ever had, and we're wondering where you are."
And then I heard someone...
That's pretty scary.
Then I heard someone comment, "Well, it is an island." And it's like, we got ships, we got planes, we got cargo. We can move tanks around.
It's not that far.
And since
We've
they
gone
had-
around the world with all that stuff.
And they have about 12 flights coming in and out of the country, so they do have the ability to land aircraft with supplies on them. So anyway, maybe we should focus on that just a little bit.
I think that we should probably donate to the Red Cross effort specifically for Puerto Rico today.
And it's like they're talking about they passed a bill where they can get help on October 1st. And the leader
If
there,
you don't have
there said, we might not make it till then.
This is like a yesterday thing. This is like the day it hit thing.
Right.
I am very surprised at why, because FEMA has actually done a very good job in both Texas and Florida.
Yeah, it's
So
looking
why
a
is
little
it-
weird now.
So why has it been so lackadaisical
And
here?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't want to judge and say that, it didn't work. They're not doing their job right. But Puerto Rico's yelling out for help, and they don't see it yet. So I'm not sure what that is. Let's talk about Halloween.
We can do that.
It's your favorite time of year.
Yes, it is.
You tell them why.
Christmas is for amateurs. I mean, I'm sorry, but when you can decorate yourself silly, when you can dress up in fun stuff, when you can eat all the treats you want, but you don't have to buy any meaningless gifts. You don't have to get all the potpourri for the neighbors and the boss's wife and all that stuff. You just get to celebrate. How much better can that be? Seriously.
And you get candy.
And you get candy.
For free.
You know, it's been the best holiday
your
ever since I was a
costumes.
kid. Most popular Halloween costumes
Right
this
in
year.
here.
Now, it's pretty funny. You've got that copy, sweetie. They were going through some of the costumes that are going to be really big this year. Superhero costumes for kids is number one. Number two, actually, was Batman, which is still a superhero, but I
Right.
guess he was the most popular of all the superheroes. So both girls and boys superhero costumes. And that is actually one thing I've really loved about cosplay. Because they've had so many female versions of some of the male superhero characters, they now have these out in the stores, which I love. Like there's a female Captain America, and there's a female Batman, and there's a female Thor.
Batgirl.
And I think, no, not Batgirl. It's a female Batman suit, except for it's female designed. Because Batgirl was a different thing. She was a more,
She had a
she was-
cool motorcycle.
she was a diminished version of what he was. And so what they're saying by doing this is that we're still appropriating the actual character, simply making it female.
It's Halloween. Adults, 48% of adults are going to dress up. That's
Are we
crazy.
going to dress up this year?
No.
Sometimes we do.
This is the most popular. Witch is the most popular for adults.
It's always sexy witch.
Batman stuff.
Always sexy witch.
Pirates, animals, vampires, zombies. The question I have is I always question, and this is not judgment, I always question the guys who dress up like girls. And we had someone we worked
You're still
with.
remembering Brandon, aren't you?
Yeah, this guy we used to work
Oh,
with,
God
Brandon.
bless him. He was
And,
so sweet.
And so what he did is he got a little skirt outfit together, one piece, and patted himself and went in, and he was
He utilized balloons in order to develop a cleavage.
he was kind of cute. So in studios, they have big glass windows that you can look into the studio and stuff like that. In about 20, 30 minutes after our shift, I walked by, and he was sitting there doing this.
Just very like, it's like,
To knock on the window.
don't.
Don't do that.
There's a reason that men do not have bosoms, because you would never leave the house. It would be,
Pretty much. And what's the difference between scary witch and sexy witch?
oh my God, are you kidding?
Oh, I know the
Sexy
difference.
witch is like cleavage.
I
And
know the difference. I'm just saying, I see a lot more sexy witch.
Because scary
witch.
witches, you have like the big hump nose, and you have like warts with hair growing
Right.
out of them. There's this scary teeth and
Right.
stuff. And nobody apparently wants to be that. They all want to be the sexy witch.
Okay. I say yay. Let's talk about FEMA. They made a mistake.
This was
and-
so funny.
Well, it's still a mistake. And,
But it was
during
funny.
all the panic and all the work and the shuffling around stuff, they actually gave out an 800 number that was a sex line.
It was a girls' chat line. Call now, and we'll just have a
Yeah,
nice
hello.
discussion.
I got this big tree that's fallen in my backyard. I bet you do, you naughty little boy. I need someone to come over and help me clean out my gutters. Oh, yeah. Tell me more about those gutters, mister.
I'm sorry. sorry. I still thought it was funny, but I'm sure in the heat of the moment it probably wasn't as amusing to the people who no longer had a house, but it was kind of funny.
Let's talk about the nurse getting
Wow.
arrested.
It's very interesting. The Salt Lake Police Association on Monday broke its silence regarding the arrest of Alex Wobel, the University of Utah hospital nurse, who was arrested by the two officers. And I think at a point where we're all agreeing was like ridiculous.
From start to finish,
Yeah.
they have the body cam.
And incidentally, the victim of the car crash that they were attempting to draw blood from has passed away.
Yes.
So we're very sorry for his family. But they wrote a very some people have said it was self-righteous letter where they said, well, we think the city has handled this very badly, and the fact that the premature release of the body cam video, it was 6 weeks after the assault. And, you know, the information about the disciplinary investigation, and it's made pariahs of these two police officers. And it's like,
Well, actually, around the world, it has.
it's like, yeah, they should be pariahs. And it's like, and they complained that their fellow police officers in the city haven't supported them. And it's like, because they're the good guys who have worked so hard to establish a good reputation and a good standing with the community.
Right.
And then you get one or two of these guys who get to abuse their power. Yeah, I'm sure that the good police officers who work very hard have ostracized them, because you just tore down all of the efforts they've made over years of work.
Right.
To show that you can trust us and that we're here for you and we're not going to hurt you and scare you. We want to help. And it's like, and with one really well-placed video, they've torn a whole pile of that down. So it's like, what part of this is
I
upsetting
gotta think
you?
that's so frustrating for police officers.
Yeah, right?
Is that they're out doing some. We got some stories coming up about officers helping
Who
other
are
people.
amazing, who do incredible things.
And they do great stuff, and they protect the public, and they make sure people are safe, and they help out, and that's their attitude. And then you got people who shouldn't be doing it and ruin it for all the other good people. So anyway, point made.
And there's so few of the bad ones. That's what makes it so hard.
As a matter of fact, the story about the good guy is coming up right after information with Daisy.
Oh, good. Well, okay. She's in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom this morning. And, of course, it's brought to you by Fink and McGregor. Mortgage is made simple. If you go to fink-mcgregor.com, you are going to see a plethora of options because they have more than just one, like a bank would. Also, you can get a call back within the next business day if you like. Go to fink-mcgregor.com. Also, by All Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air. This is definitely the time of year you want to call John and his buddies because something has to be turned off like the sprinklers, something has to be turned on like the furnace, and you want to inspect everything and make sure it's safe. So go to allutahplumbing.com. Daisy, my darling, what is going on this morning?
Hello everyone, here's what's making headlines Tuesday, September 26th on GepHardtDaily.com. Cottonwood Heights police have released body camera footage of an officer-involved shooting which critically wounded a teenage suspect September the 3rd. The teen, whose identity has yet to be released, had just led police on a high-speed chase before crashing on I-15 at the 1300 South off-ramp. The juvenile ran from his car and was confronted by a pursuing police officer. After refusing to follow orders to lie on the ground and remain still, the teen was shot while reaching for his waistband. A search revealed the teen was armed with a .22 caliber pistol. He now faces charges of fleeing police and unlawful possession of a firearm. Police say a suspect who opened fire on a couple's Garden City trailer home was actually shot and killed when the couple returned fire. Investigators say the suspect had been firing into homes at the Sweetwater Trailer Park when he shot and slightly wounded a 62-year-old man and a 72-year-old woman. Police say the couple shot back, mortally wounding the suspect, who was found dead in his SUV. Cops say the shooting appears to be a clear case of self-defense. And finally, Senator Orrin Hatch is backing legislation that would provide undocumented children a path to U.S. citizenship. Hatch joined two other GOP senators Monday in introducing the so-called Succeed Act. The act would allow so-called dreamers to become citizens after 15 years, provided they meet strict requirements such as keeping a job, pursuing secondary education, or serving in the military. They also must pay federal taxes and not commit any crimes during that time. And now a look at our Wasatch Front forecast, where we will see a slight warming trend the next few days. Daytime highs will be in the upper 60s to low 70s. Nighttime lows will be in the 40s. That's it for now. For more local headlines 24/7, go to GepHardtDaily.com. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you, my dear Daisy.
Pumpkins are almost ready.
I know, I'm so excited for this.
We got a place you need to go.
Kuahara. Now, this is their pumpkin patch and their corn maze. We've told you all about their corn in the farmer's market, that it's open 7 days a week, only one that is. But if you haven't been out to the pumpkin patch, this is like one of those destination places you go and you dress the kids up in all their adorable style outfits and you do all the really cool Pinterest-worthy pictures because they have this layout that's heart-stopping. They have all these different ones. There's the Night Before Christmas one where they have all the ghost pumpkins and all the scary pumpkins.
That's my hand going through the corn.
It's beautiful. There's a Frankenstein's, what pumpkin patch that you can go through. That
They got all the weird pumpkins.
Yeah, all the warty weird ones. And then there is like a Disney one where they do like this play and Disney is there and the princesses are all there and it's got the princess pumpkins and all the pretty little ones.
And so you can go in and do crafts and stuff. You get your pumpkins. There also is a corn maze.
And massive. There's 3 different corn mazes. One is where you send all the bad children because it just ends up in a big dead end. But it's really fun. So Alex has gone out of his way to make this really beautiful. And here's the cool part. The corn maze, the pumpkin patches, it's all free. I mean, you buy your pumpkins, but everything, all the activities, all the fun is free. So it really is a lot of fun to go to. Now, it's opening this Friday. It's at 700 West and 122 South in Draper. So that's 7th West, 12200 South in Draper. And once again, it's going to be open this weekend.
All right, so we were talking about cops earlier, and so I want you to tell me something good.
I have a nice palate cleanser. This is going to be good. There was a pedestrian in Rock Island, Illinois. And she gave kind of an emergency call because she very, very old. She was 87. She's in an electronic wheelchair, and it's everywhere else in the country. It's like 300 degrees.
Do you know how heavy the electric wheelchairs are?
Insane.
They're incredibly heavy.
Insane. So she was trying to get to her doctor's appointment, and
Right.
she was heading up to the bus stop in her wheelchair, and it stopped working. So she's stuck on this hill, and she's really frightened, and she doesn't know what to do, and she makes a call. A police officer comes out. He calls Metro Bus. He said, "Could you please transport this woman to the appointment?" And they said, "Yeah, can you get her up to 31st and we'll swing around?"
Right.
And so a pedestrian took a picture of this sweet police officer. You've got to show this. He is pushing this woman up this steep hill. It doesn't even look as steep as it is apparently. It is blazing hot, and
Right.
you know they're wearing their body armor and their 47,000 pounds of gear.
Right.
And he shoves her a quarter mile up this hill.
I think pushes is a better word.
Pushes her a quarter
Shoves.
mile up
Right.
this hill to get her safely to the bus route. But just the thought of that, the fact is like, well, can't you swing around and get her? Or,
Right.
okay, well, so we're going to have someone come fix this or what? No, none of this. He just simply pushes her up this ridiculously large hill.
And how cool is that? I have one question. Is why didn't the person who took the picture go over and help?
You know, that actually is a really good point.
Right?
That would have been nice.
Would have been a little easier.
It's like that joke from Rodney King. It's like, if you see me getting hurt, put down the camera and come over and help me.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, it still is beautiful because
It is. No,
this
it's a
man
great
went
story.
way above and
Great
beyond his
story.
way. And I'm sorry, if I were wearing that much body armor, I'm not sure. I'd be like, how about if I just sit with you and I'm going to get you a Diet Coke and we'll wait.
All right, so we should talk about the big thank you, and that's Christopher's. We're going to give you an opportunity to go to dinner at Christopher's because
Take 3 friends.
it's a steakhouse. Like you're not going to want to leave. I think that's the big point.
I'm sorry, but when you can cut their filet with a butter knife, you know that you've got something spectacular. If you would like
it's
to go,
yummy.
it's a very easy way to enter. All you have to do is just go to one of our 3 Facebook pages. If you're listening to us now, this is the time where you just make a comment and say, "Oh, I love Christopher's, I want to go," whatever, and then that automatically enters you. It's a very low effort contest because we're not that bright. So you go to the Gephardt Daily Facebook page, the Todd and Erin Facebook page, or the Gephardt Approved Facebook page. Make a comment, you're entered to win, and we'll draw another winner on Friday.
There you go. Hey, coming up, are we getting the Winter Olympics?
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been
Or
thinking
what?
about it.
It's coming up next.
Todd and Erin's Morning Stream, brought to you by Black Diamond Experts. Electric, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. You'll be glad you called an expert. Fink and McGregor, mortgages made simple. Make sure you go to fink-mcgregor.com and try out their 4-minute mortgage program. It's incredibly easy to find out whether you qualify. The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is actually available anytime at GephardtDaily.com. Just click on the Todd and Erin page.
Did you know you can buy a house with a 600 credit score?
Really?
We have lenders, we have programs, stuff that's come up in the last couple of years. 600.
Wouldn't you have to have like 50% down or something though?
Nope. 3.5%.
Where would you start
the process on this?
Well, Fink and McGregor has a website, 4minutemortgage.com. Just go there, fill it out, up and running.
How long until you get back to us?
1 business day. Whole thing takes about a month, start to finish.
Where do you get the down though if you're broke?
It can be a gift from family, relative, significant other, even your work.
Gift, huh?
Yeah.
You know what that makes me wish?
What?
Makes me wish I had friends with money. All right, so we're talking about the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, like we did in 2002. So up in Park City, they had the IOC was there, International Olympic Committee, and they're in the process of doing the quiet information phase, which is kind of just people talking about who wants the Olympics. Now, for a lot of the Summer Olympics, a lot of cities just have backed out because they're like,
It's too expensive. We can't afford to build 47 stadiums for soccer.
Right.
And everyone's seen down in Rio where like the jungles have literally taken over
what a
these
mess.
50,000 seat stadiums that were built at an unspeakable cost.
there was another U.S. city, I forget which one it was, and they bid for it, and they put up a vote on the bond to finance it, and people said, no, we're not going to do it. We have other things we need to focus on. So the IOC,
So we were one of the last games to actually make money. Salt Lake City in 2002, we actually made quite a bit of money.
$2 billion or something
Something
stupid.
ridiculous, yeah. And the nice
Oh,
thing
there's
about
the
it,
silliest sport I've ever seen, the biathlon. Skiing and shooting.
as long as there's not drinks involved,
What
I'm
could
fine
go
with
wrong?
it. But the cool thing about it, though, is that we actually still use almost all of our venues. We've put them to good use. And so that was one of the things that they talked about, that everything's still fully functioning. This is a fully functioning site that you could just pop back into.
They're looking at Denver and Reno are also going to be, they think, in the competition. Now let's just go through.
Denver-
Let's go through this. We're sitting here and we're the cities representing the cities, and it says, okay, so who has a luge run? Salt Lake does. Who has bobsled? We do. Who's got downhill jumping? We do. Who still has mountains? Everyone still has mountains. All right, but flat ice rink, the curling place up north. I mean, we have.
We still use the curling place.
Still curl.
How cool is that?
You ever curl? It's silly. So we have all this stuff, but they're saying, we could go up against some pretty difficult competition on this.
Really?
But we already have everything. And we have tracks now.
I guess it's their job to poo-poo everybody and kind of lower expectations, maybe.
true.
Or maybe they're just trying to actually make the bidding more frenzied by going, well, it's such an honor. It's like everyone's already seeing through that. But it's just funny. I don't have a huge amount of fondness for the IOC because we talked. One of our closest friends actually was heavily involved in the original bid for the Olympics. And he
Right.
was telling us funny stories about how they weren't quite sure how to
Socialize.
with some of them. And so they were chilling red wine and handing it to them. There was one of the Russian dignitaries that were there from the IOC, and they went, "You like vodka, right?" So they filled this water glass full of vodka and just shoved it at him, no ice, and it was like.
So they stepped in and
so they
took
kind
over.
of, yeah. So it was a matter of working through things. But he also told us about some of the ridiculous successes, like the president had to have a wrapped toothbrush every morning, and then it had to be unwrapped in front of him and placed in front of him, and then the next morning another one. It's like, dude, you're not the president of like a country.
The world.
It's like the IOC. So
The IOC was so dirty.
I'm
and
not-
they
oh,
got so many
ridiculously
gifts.
dirty.
And it was just crazy. I mean,
and all of their nieces and nephews got college scholarships, and I mean, it was
here
just.
in the universities.
It was so I don't know. I think they've become so entitled. It's hard
But
for me
the-
to take them seriously.
That has changed quite a bit.
Has it, do you think?
It really has changed. They
I
cleaned
hope
it up.
so. I hope so.
So anyway, I don't know how you feel about the Olympics.
So was that dampening our enthusiasm? Was that its goal?
No, because this is the quiet information phase. And think of it, Denver might go for it and then be voted down by its own citizens and saying, well, and plus the fact, when I moved from the East Coast and I moved to Denver first and I drove across the prairie and I went up and there were the mountains to my right. There are the mountains, majestic, there they are. And the sign said Denver this way.
You're like, what?
I was like, what? I thought Denver was like by the mountain. No, it's out in the middle of nowhere. Boulder is by the mountains.
And then you keep driving and driving and driving.
And then you get to
the
Denver.
mountains.
And if you leave the airport in Denver, especially a new one now, there is a sign. And as you drive in, it says if you were in Park City, if you were in Utah, you'd be skiing by now. And you're not even to Denver yet.
Oh, I love spiteful advertising.
All right, so end of the world.
Oh, and this is funny. I want to hear the excuse because this was a big buildup. We all knew the world was ending
Saturday.
on the 21st. We were
Saturday.
prepared for it. We were going to have a nice party.
Now,
Nothing.
this is a Christian numerologist, and this is the guy we've talked about, David Mead. Best-selling novels? No. He's self-published online, and he has pamphlets.
And he said he based this off the Bible and Egyptian pyramids, and he said that
33 is the number.
the planet X would collide with the Earth on September 23rd, right?
And Planet X is the one that's hiding behind the moon.
Oh, that we can't see, even
So
though.
he had picked on Saturday, and then he went, wait. No. Because he says Jesus lived for 33 years. The name of the name of God and the Jews is mentioned 33 times in the Bible, and it goes on and on. But then he said, okay, so he's merging the two, astrology and the Bible, and then he realized that it's not going to end, like he said on Saturday, but he says that October 1st is the beginning of the end. So
Oh, okay. Not today, but soon. We're just going
Right.
to keep moving over to the
Right.
next calendar
Next
month, and
day.
it's
So-
going to be soon.
So the beginning of October, a major part of the world will not be the same. Beginning October, early October. And now it's kind of early October. And then it'll turn into springish.
Okay, I am a little unclear, though, on how the 21st of September still relates to the number 33.
Yeah. So
Because even if you added like 9 and 21, like, the month and the day, it would still only be like 20. It would be like 30, excuse me. It would be 30. So it's not even 33. So where did 33 come into?
see,
Okay, I'm trying to assign logic to a guy who's called it Planet X and says it's going
Right.
to collide with
Yeah.
Earth. So maybe I should just give this one up.
And maybe when you keep calling for the end of the world, people are going to stop and think you're nuts, which has already happened. Yeah, it's kind of who's the evangelist who kept saying the end of the world?
It's really soon now.
It's going to happen Thursday. And then after about 4 or 5 times, they went, turn his mic off.
Minister,
He's
don't.
embarrassing us. Pumpkin.
We're sorry if you were disappointed about the 21st,
Right.
though, because we
No.
were all totally ready to. We had a party set. It was good.
We didn't pay our mortgage.
It was going to be, yeah, we have to do that now.
Of course, we never pay our mortgage. So here's the thing we should talk about. Because it's a little overkill, the whole pumpkin spice thing.
A little overkill. It is a smothering blanket of nutmeg. A smothering blanket.
Everyone is so into this, and now there's a competitor. That's
There's
right.
a new flavor competitor.
Look at my hat. It should give you a clue.
Canada,
No, I'm thinking maple,
our brave
actually.
and native.
No, maple.
The maple leaf is in the front of your hat, kitten.
Maple syrup. That is the new flavor trend coming up.
Really?
86% increase from last year on non-alcoholic beverages like at Starbucks and all the different places. Maple syrup.
They have a maple pecan latte at Starbucks.
Right.
Now that I would totally get behind. The pumpkin spice one I could never accept, but I could totally do a maple pecan.
I made maple syrup when I was in Maine.
Ooh, yum. Did you ever do the old-fashioned thing where they boil it and then they throw like a spoonful out in the snow and you get to wind it up and eat it like candy?
Yeah. And then they give
That's
you
like Little House on the Prairie with Laura Ingalls Wilder. I'm so jealous.
and then they give you a pickle. So you have in this hand you have a stick that has the chilled syrup, so it's like a lollipop, and then on this hand you have a dill pickle to counteract the
Sour
super
sweet,
sweet.
sour sweet,
Sour sweet. Yeah.
Ooh, that would be really good.
Yeah, it is. And if you've never, by the way, if you've never had real maple syrup, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine people haven't had that because the stuff you buy in the store is corn syrup that's colored and flavored. Mm-hmm. It's not the same.
No, it really is
not the
spectacular
same.
stuff.
So anyway-
well, this is exciting because like maple
something
pecan
new.
ice cream is delicious. There's all kinds of nice infusions you could do with maple.
Maple and pecan, like ice creamy kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I just
I
mentioned.
know. I just said it again.
But
though.
you were ignoring me, so you didn't know I said it.
I was
Which
looking
is
over
like
here.
you're looking at your copy and you went,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to pay attention to anything my wife says because it's going to be a lot like home, where I just basically ignore anything she says, but I nod a lot, so it almost looks like I'm listening.
What?
Not that that's autobiographical at all.
It happens. It's getting cold outside. You have something jacket-wise you wanted to tell me about?
This really isn't about the cold so much as about the cool. Because
I'm going to pay attention really good.
will you be hearing me? Will
I
you
see
be giving
you.
me eye messages?
I see you. Here, from this to here.
Well, you like Levi jackets, though.
I do like
and you
Levi
actually look
jackets.
rather good in Levi jackets.
Thank you very much.
There's a new one, and it's called the Levi's Trucker jacket.
Strucker?
Trucker jacket.
Oh, trucker.
Trucker. It's only $150. Now that
Only?
sounds
It's a jean jacket.
that sounds like a lot, but here's why it's interesting.
Why?
This is the touch-sensitive fabric you've been hearing so much about. They have been in collusion with Apple, and what they're doing is this is especially meant for people who are like on the subway or bicyclists or stuff who don't really have time to manipulate.
Yeah.
You can sweep your phone on the sleeve. You can tap it. It can call people. It can send texts. It can do all this different stuff, and it's really cool. And it's all based on touch-sensitive fabric,
So
that you're still technically hands-free, but you can still use it. And it's really interesting. They say that it's Project Jacquard. It's named after the loom that creates the touch-sensitive fabric, and it's a lot like the screen on your phone. It's just kind of a cool gadget. They integrate copper core threading throughout the jacket
is
sleeve.
this like your gloves you use when you walk and you can still text, right?
Except for the jacket can issue commands, and I can't do that with just the gloves. If I swept the glove, it would ignore it. But I can sweep my phone on my sleeve with the commuter trucker jacket, and
So,
it can actually work it.
What you're telling me is they have taken a rustic piece of Americana, rugged, I'm sitting around a campfire kind of thing, maybe gutting a deer, and turned it into another piece of technology.
You attach a little tag to the left cuff of the jacket that activates the touch fabric.
Yeah.
You then pair it to an app on your phone.
Right.
It goes through a little tutorial who shows you all the different gestures. You can configure it to brush in, brush out, double tap. Just holding your hand on the fabric is hard coded to turn your phone on and off. It's really, really cool. And it's basically meant to make it safer and make it easier. But I just want it on principle because if you remember, Marty McFly in one of the Back to the Futures, when he was actually in the future,
Right.
had such a smart jacket that could do all these cool things for him, except for it was a very unattractive jacket.
Right.
And now I feel that a slimmer, more streamlined Levi's jacket is a magnificent choice.
Well, if you wear Levi jeans with it, you could have like a fax and the paper comes out of your fly.
I think you're missing the whole point of
No,
this
I think they're
technology.
missing the whole point. It's supposed to be a casual, I'm sitting around a fire kind of jacket.
It's touch-sensitive fabric. This is like a really cool thing.
Or they should touch sensitive underwear. Why stop there? Why not make it really stupid?
I don't want to even picture
See, I was
the
listening.
applications.
I was listening
I do
to
not want
you.
to picture the applications of
No.
the jacquard loom fabric
No,
underpants.
no.
I
You
don't want to
shouldn't.
picture that
Shouldn't
at all.
do it. All right, coming up. Senator Hatch.
Don't piss him off.
Bring it.
Do not piss. He may be 83, but he will take you down.
We'll talk about it next.
We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com.
All right, welcome back to the Todd and Erin morning stream on GephardtDaily.com. Senator Hatch, how old?
I believe he's 85.
Still got the moves, though.
Look at that face. That is not a happy Senator Hatch face. That is an irritated Senator Hatch face.
Why is he irritated?
Well, apparently there was a hearing on the controversial Graham Cassidy health bill.
Yesterday.
And there were hundreds of protesters in wheelchairs that went to the Capitol, and they were
Some were standing, too.
They were protesting, and
This
they
is
were
Washington.
Yeah, in Washington, and they were saying, "Look, you cannot remove pre-existing conditions. You're killing us." And they were protesting, and they were shouting. And the Republican Senate was trying to kind of quickly push this third bill, but it's starting. Even their own members are starting to drag their feet, going, "Well, yeah, but what about this thing and that thing?" And they even threw in a couple of interesting extras. For instance, the senator from Alaska has been fairly vocal in her unhappiness with a lot of these bills, saying
Right.
that they were too brutal. And all of a sudden, they included this clause that gave the indigenous people of Alaska a boatload of money for health care, and they sweetened the pot for like three
Maine?
or four of the states where
right.
they'd been dragging their feet,
And they
which
still,
seems
yeah.
different. But in any case, so they were there with the Disabilities Right group, and Senator Hatch finally said, if you want a hearing, you better shut up.
Oh, Grandpa.
And he pointed like this, like a teacher at a bad child.
Oh, boy.
You know, the pointing figure of decision.
The fight is
which
on.
then, of course, made the Capitol Police come in and they removed the protesters from the hearing. But it's just the
But they still protested.
But
so
it's
that's
just the
cool.
concept of him doing the finger, because we all know the finger. We've had one authority figure do the finger to us before, the finger of admonition.
There's another finger, too, but this is the one he used.
No, but this one's a stern figure.
So
Like that.
Shut up.
No, it just cracks me up. I just want to hear Senator Hatch say "shut up" because I
right.
could picture it. But
All
it was,
right. Coming
was
up.
funny.
Coming up after information, we have people who are going to hell.
Yes.
And you have someone?
They are
All right.
going to hell. Okay, it's brought to you, of course, it's brought to you by the Gephardt Daily Newsroom, where Daisy is currently sitting in her adorableness. Sponsored by Fink & McGregor. If you go to Fink-McGregor, you'll realize how mortgages are made simple by the plethora of options you will find there. It's fink-mcgregor.com, and also by Black Diamond Experts. These are experts in electric, plumbing, heating, and air, and now they have an office in Ogden. You can go to blackdiamondexpert.com. Daisy, what's going on today?
Good morning, Todd and Erin. Hello, everyone. Here's a look at national and world news for Tuesday, September 26th on GephartDaily.com. A humanitarian crisis is unfolding in Puerto Rico, where millions are struggling to survive in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. Puerto Rico's governor made a desperate plea to the Pentagon Monday for greater humanitarian aid. Most of the territory remains without power and drinkable water is scarce. Relief agencies say it will be years before the island nation recovers. The U.S. military has carried out airstrikes against ISIS training camps inside Libya. The precision strikes were conducted against multiple terrorist targets on a desert camp 150 miles southeast of Sirte, a former ISIS stronghold. At least 17 ISIS fighters were killed in the attacks. And finally, a stiff sentence has been handed down to former Congressman Anthony Weiner. Weiner was sentenced to 21 months for engaging in lewd text messages with a teenage girl. Weiner, 53, had pleaded guilty to one count of transferring obscene material to a minor. The conviction carried a potential of 10 years in prison. That's it for now. For more headlines from across the country and around the globe, go to GephartDaily.com. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Okay, Daisy said wiener.
But she said
You
it
know,
in a
that's
British
a-
accent, so it
which-
sounded much classier.
Yes, wiener.
I'm sorry, but if my name were Wiener,
I know.
number one, I wouldn't be a sex addict. Number
Yeah.
two, I wouldn't talk about it. Number three, I wouldn't be sexting underage girls. But number three, it's like it's such an
Change your name.
It's such an unfortunate name that wouldn't you go
Right.
into like good works? Like wouldn't you run like a leper colony in
Wouldn't
Africa
you go into
or
court
something?
and change it?
I mean, just on principle, because it's like you really chose this particular direction, knowing that for the rest of your life,
Wiener.
there's nothing any of us can do but laugh uncontrollably at you.
We have to. I'm sorry.
You do. You have
See
to.
how that goes in prison.
One quick note about the ISIS bombings, which was very exciting. They were also joined by the Royal Air Force and a couple of the teams out of Saudi Arabia. And this had happened once before, but I wanted to bring it back up because I'm so in love with this woman. One of the pilots,
Fighter pilot.
spectacular fighter pilot, and she's the head of her squadron in Saudi Arabia, took place in the first bombing over ISIS. And
She was a lead. She was the lead plane.
and she also took part in this bombing raid. And I would just like to say one thing. ISIS, you just got your ass handed to you by a girl. You just got kicked back to the Stone Age by a girl.
Feel better?
So much.
Okay.
I can't tell you how
All right,
much.
talk about Black Diamond.
All right, Black Diamond Experts. Now, if you have never needed these people more, and here's why. We're going into that stage now where turning off sprinklers and all the little things you're supposed to be doing outside to keep from freezing are really important. And also, you're inside, and then you're wondering, okay, carbon monoxide, are there any cracks? Are there any problems? Is my heating system okay? These are the guys who you want coming up to your house. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. They'll go through everything with you. They'll do the safety checks. And it's like maybe it's something as simple as you just need a filter. Here, I'm blowing it out. There, you're done. Or maybe it's something where they say, this is serious, let's fix this. And if they have to give you a bid for something, when you pay it, it will be exactly what the bid was. No overages, no extra charges, none of that. These are people you can count on. So these are the people you put on your list with all the experts that you like. So just go to blackdiamondexpert.com to get more information. Oh, they have a brand new office in Ogden too.
All right. So, people, are you guaranteeing this to people who go to hell?
Oh, this guy's going to hell.
All right.
These are people who are going to hell.
All right, sure thing. Okay.
Because it's the sheer outrage of it is like, really?
It's like not even an escalator down. It's like a chute.
It's like, can you make it worse? Okay. So this is an office manager.
Mm-hmm.
He has been an office manager at a rehabilitation center, which is a care facility for people with disabilities.
Seems okay so far.
This care center helps people with disabilities, the most vulnerable of our population,
Right.
which also have extraordinarily low funding.
This is a really good place.
And it is designed to help them maybe find jobs and to give them chances to get out into the community and to make a
Right.
difference, because every single one of us in this world
Right.
wants to contribute. We want to produce. None of us want to just sit there, and especially people with disabilities
Right.
are acutely aware of their desire to be part of the world.
So what could go wrong?
So you're thinking, so far, this is a great care facility. Well, unfortunately, nearly every one of their programs has been halted because all the money has been gone.
Where did it go?
Robert Carney, 51, of Ogden, was charged Monday in 3rd District Court with theft and then 2 counts of abuse and exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Not only did he embezzle all the money from the care facility, he stole directly from the disabled patients.
He's going to hell.
Any questions about that one?
No. That's like a fire pole.
Yeah, pretty much.
Going to hell.
Yeah. Okay, coming up, this is really interesting. I didn't know this thing about blue eyes.
I know. We're not talking about Frank Sinatra either. And it's coming up next.
We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com?
Seriously, you don't know Blue Eyes, what that refers to?
You mentioned, I know the story, but what does Frank Sinatra have to do with the story?
Hang on, let me ask Daisy. She's from England.
Frank Sinatra's American.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Mr. Blue Eyes. Right? Everyone knows it.
Google.
Okay, you Google.
Frank Sinatra.
This is really interesting. You go ahead and do that. The cause, now we're talking about brown eyes.
Did it my way.
Right. Mr. Blue Eyes. Just type in Blue Eyes.
Oh, he was known as Old Blue Eyes?
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes.
Right.
There's no D.
Well,
just
that's
Old.
not actually. Anyway.
Okay.
The point being is that...
It wasn't Mr. Blue Eyes, by the way. It was Old Blue Eyes.
Okay. I have hazel eyes.
And they're beautiful.
And thanks.
But most of the time, they're actually ocean blue.
So common colors. Brown is very common. All this stuff. And basically, your eye color is based on how many brown tones you have. So people who have less have lighter tones, and they're kind of almost a yellow, kind of.
So for the
brilliant.
iris is the gradient of tone. Okay.
Right, but
I'm with you so far.
The blue eyes all have one thing in common, and they come from one individual. Listen to this. The blue-eyed people have one ancestor in common, born around 16,000 to 10,000 years ago.
Get out.
His name was Chuck. He was left-handed and likes walks on the beach. It's not true.
They have really narrowed it down to a single common ancestor.
One ancestor, because it was a mutation, and it's such a unique mutation that everyone you see with blue eyes now came from that one person.
Boy, that's one heck of a dominant gene.
Isn't that cool?
One ancestor.
One ancestor.
You're all related.
So
Congratulations.
you have a child, and all of a sudden you have brown eyes, and they have blue eyes. Is the fact that that thing is hiding until the baby's born, and then it's decided.
That is the dangest thing.
I know. So if
I
you
can't imagine that many people having a single common ancestor.
6,000 to 10,000 years ago. We're going to call him Chuck, just because it's cool.
Wow.
All right.
That's incredible.
You have a great question
No,
about
this is
downtown.
This is kind of a scary mystery, and they've actually started talking about this, not even here in the state, but they've been talking about this worldwide. There was a really interesting article in The Guardian out of London, and they said there was a mystery in Salt Lake City. They said, where have hundreds of homeless people gone? Now think about it. We've all talked a ton about Operation Rio Grande and the massive amount of homeless that suddenly seemed to swell the downtown area.
Right.
And the massive concern of we've just got this tent city, these gigantic piles of trash and people and debris
Right.
and open air drug markets. And so they started the arrests and the sweeps and they closed the street. But here's the deal. They say they've disappeared. I mean, and local residents and all the relief workers down there are like, we don't know where they went.
Now, there is some reports, and we've actually seen it. You've seen it as well. Erin has. In some of the parks and some of the places, they've seen them turning up and camping
Well,
because there's restrooms there and such.
Well, this is interesting because Salt Lake City Police Chief Mike Brown actually kind of corroborated this. He says, I've been visiting the parks and along the Jordan River. He
Right.
says, where we've seen some of these. And he says, there are some homeless camps dotting along the banks, but there is not an influx from downtown. It's not what they expected. They literally were up in police helicopters kind of scanning this
Looking
area.
around.
Looking around like, where are the camps? Who's going to need services? Where do we need to get people out of
Right,
before
right.
winter? And when they said, where did everybody go? They said, this is a good question. We're not sure. I mean, and national media reports are getting releases saying that we've cured the homeless problem.
That's not
and
true.
isn't this amazing? And the thing now that's a little bit scary though is they're not absolutely certain what happened.
You remember how Reno got caught doing something?
Giving bus tickets and saying go to Salt Lake City, they'll take care of you
They're
there.
putting people on a bus and to get them out of their city, which is like, holy mackerel. And anyway, the cold weather's happening. A certain amount of the homeless and people like that, they end up traveling. They end up going south where it's warmer. But the people are locked in here. It's here comes winter. So
Well, here's the interesting thing. They were going through the numbers in this British article. More than 1,200 people were arrested, but 900 of those have since been released. So only
Right.
300 have been kept incarcerated.
Right.
On an average given day, if you spoke to the relief workers down there, like from the road home and whatever, that area, that concentrated area, had around 2,200 people.
I remember driving through it.
2,200 people. But in the weeks after the launch, what they can't find any of them. They said that there's well over 1,200 people that seem to have disappeared. And obviously some have gone to sunnier climates or went, okay, I'm out of the city, whatever.
Right.
But they're saying even there, they didn't see the influx of the standard signs of I'm getting out of here or people getting onto buses or any of those things.
Well, also the fact that what they've done is they've registered the people who are getting services and gave them ID cards. And the bad guys don't like ID cards because that means they can't get in to the system, and they're out selling drugs and taking advantage of this population. So they're going to have to figure out winter is coming, and I just can't imagine. City Creek Canyon also has some
Very,
people
very
in it
popular.
because there's water there, there's restrooms, there's that kind of deal.
But it's still kind of scary if you think about it. Where did they all go? You can't displace like over 1,000 people overnight. And yet that's what these people are all saying. And even the relief workers and the police are like, we don't know what happened.
Keep an eye on it, see what the next
That's
stage
kind
of
of-
Rio Grande is.
Isn't that kind of freaky to you?
It is a little freaky.
All right, but in any case, they are making strides, and now that they've established what they call a safe space, it's going to give the homeless a much better chance for access to services and medical care and food, and I'm really excited by the plan so far,
Very cool.
except for the ones who are missing.
So I'm going to take you to Missouri. This has actually happened to me, where you drive up and you're at the drive-thru and you get up there and they say, here's your order. You go, thank you very much. And you start giving them the card. And they said, no, thank you. The car ahead of you took care of it. And I'm like, what?
And then you have to pay it. I don't think it's pay it forward in this case. Isn't it more like pay it backward?
Well, this is when we were unemployed. And things are kind of tight. And no, they're really tight. And I'm sitting there going, okay, so I bought a coffee, right? And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I hope the person behind me, because I felt obligated to do it in a good way. And I was praying that the guy behind me didn't order for his office, right? And so I nicely said, how much is it? And she goes, it's like $10. And I said, okay, I'll pay it. Well, in Missouri,
I'm ordering a coffee.
yeah, I know. I didn't drink coffee for the next 3 weeks. So in Missouri, that's what happened. It started off. And I guess they have a lot of regulars at the McDonald's, and the person came up and he said, oh, I'm sorry, the person had paid for you. And he went, oh my gosh, that's cool. I'll pay for the person behind me because they already know what the order is, right? And because they're in line.
Yeah.
And so it happened again, and again, and again. And now they've seen this at this McDonald's. They've seen this
Lovely.
before.
That's really lovely.
7:15 on a Thursday morning, the regulars coming through, and it kept going. And they've seen it go like 9 or 10.
That's really sweet. I love that.
But they haven't seen 125 customers do it.
What?
125 not being solicited, just have gone, oh my gosh, I'll do that too. It kept going. 125 cars.
Can you imagine the cashier's going, let's start making little marks here.
This is unbelievable. They started counting and it was like, can you imagine that?
That's so cool. 125 people kept the chain going.
That's fun.
Nice.
That is very good.
Congratulations, you guys. That's an amazing thing.
Chris's. There's a lot of famous Chris's out there.
Now, you were watching Saturday Night Live, and it was Chris Pine, of course, who
Pine.
plays Captain Kirk in Star Trek.
And his whole deal was the opening thing was him singing a song, trying to explain that he's Chris Pine, and everyone mixes up all the
of the
Chris's.
Chris's.
Like who?
Well, and then they're all like sort of blondish. Like Chris Evans plays Captain America.
Right.
He's in the Avengers.
Right.
And then there is Chris Pratt, who plays in Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord, Peter Quill.
Right.
So here's the sad part. Chris Pratt decided to take one of those online quizzes to match personalities and
Yeah.
see which Chris you are.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, I'm Chris. So he did it. And he said, he came up with, you're Chris Evans. Here's the good news. You're Chris Evans. Who are we kidding? There's no bad news. With your good nature and charm, you have no trouble getting the ladies. And underneath on Twitter, he says, yeah, that's great. He says, apparently I suck as a Chris because I can't even get my own name.
Right there. Oh, yeah.
I suck at.
He didn't do well in the quiz.
I suck at quizzes. He didn't even get to be himself. He had to be Chris Evans.
I don't know if I like those surveys.
Why?
I don't know. It's just like, what kind of lover are you, depending on what breakfast cereal you eat?
You know, I would be happy being Chris Pratt or Chris Evans, so I really don't feel like he should whine about it. It's like, dude, you're a Chris.
Yeah. And I'm married to a man.
You're a
now.
good-looking blonde Chris
There
guy.
you go. You guys have a great
I'm just
day.
saying, if I were a guy, I don't want to be a guy, but if
Okay.
I were a guy and I could be a Chris, I would, any one of the Chris's is A-okay.
Okay.
Don't whine about it, Chris.
Thanks for joining us today on Facebook, and we'll see you later. It's a Todd and Erin morning stream on GetPartDaily.com. So, Chris, you're going to be a Chris, are you?